Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on two of the most critical, yet, often invisible functions that make pretty much every business run: purchasing and inventory management.
So just to get a sense of the scale we're talking about, let's start with a question. What do you think is a company's single biggest expense? You might think it's salaries, right? Or maybe a huge marketing budget. What about the rent for a fancy headquarters?
Well, for most industries, the answer is actually a staggering 40 to 60% of their total spending.
Yeah, that's right. We're talking about the cost of all the materials and services a company buys. This isn't just, incidental shopping. This is a massive financial lever. And getting this balance right can literally be the difference between thriving and, going out of business.
Okay, so how in the world do successful organizations manage what can be a billion-dollar shopping list? Well, they don't just wing it. They use a playbook. And here's what that playbook looks like, all mapped out. Now, I know it might look a little complex at first, but it really just boils down to a simple, logical flow. It all starts with a need, which kicks off a smart decision-making process, and ends with getting the right stuff at the right time.
Everything starts with that first step, an input. And really, that's just a formal way of saying someone, somewhere in the company needs something.
You can't just, walk up to your boss and ask for a brand new server farm. There's a process for this, and it always starts with an official document.
And this is that document, a purchase requisition form. Now, what's really important here isn't just the what and how much. If you look closer, you'll see fields like purpose and approving authority. These little boxes are actually super powerful. They prevent wasteful spending and make sure every single purchase has a clear, strategic reason behind it.
So once that need is officially approved, the purchasing department kicks into gear and their entire mission is guided by this one core principle. It's often called the 5 rights. It's all about getting the right quality, right quantity, right time, right price, and from the right source.
So how does a company actually nail all 5 of those rights? Well, it involves making a whole series of really crucial decisions. Let's dive into that.
And here's the thing, it's not just about finding the lowest price, not even close. A great supplier is a true partner, someone who can offer technical help, guarantee a fast delivery, and, be there for you when things go wrong.
The timing of a purchase is also a huge strategic choice. It's this constant balancing act between the risk of holding way too much stock versus the very scary risk of running out completely.
But you see, the journey doesn't end when the delivery truck pulls up, because now the company owns stuff. And all that stuff has hidden costs.
It's often called a necessary evil. And that's perfect, right? It's necessary because you absolutely need materials to operate. But it's an evil because every single item sitting on a shelf is basically money tied up that's not earning a thing.
So first up, there's the cost of just having it. Just think of it like the rent you have to pay for every single box sitting in your stockroom.
Then you've got the opposite problem, the cost of not having it. And honestly, this can be way more damaging than the cost of holding on to too much. And finally, don't forget that every single time you place an order, there's a cost, just for the process itself, all the paperwork and the labor involved.
So you're in this constant battle, this cycle. Your inventory level drops as you use stuff, then it shoots back up when a new order arrives. The whole game is to place that new order at the perfect reorder point, so the delivery shows up just as you're about to run out. But trying to manage every single item this way, it's exhausting. There's got to be a smarter way, right?
Well, there is, and it's a brilliant strategy called ABC analysis. The core idea is super simple. Not all inventory is created equal, so it shouldn't all get the same level of attention.
I mean, think about it. Should a box of office paper clips get the same daily micromanagement as a critical, super expensive engine part? Of course not. And this is where one of the most elegant ideas in management comes into play: prioritization.
The method is called ABC analysis, and you can pretty much think of it as the 80-20 rule, but for your stockroom. Instead of tracking every single item with the same intensity, it forces you to classify them based on their total annual value, basically how much money flows through that item in a year.
And here's the brilliant part. Check out this table. Your A items, they're only about 10% of your total items, but they account for a massive 75% of the total value. These are the vital few. You watch them like a hawk. Meanwhile, your C items are the trivial many. They make up 75% of your items, but only 10% of the value. For those, you can use a much simpler, more automated system. It's all about focusing your energy where it has the biggest financial impact.
And that's the whole journey, right there.
From seeing purchasing as a massive expense, to building a structured process, to creating a prioritized strategy. That is how you go from just buying things to truly mastering the flow of materials through an organization.
And that brings us to one last thought. This powerful idea of focusing on the high-value items, it doesn't just apply to warehouses. So think about your own work, or even your own life. What are the C-class tasks, the paper clips that are getting A-class attention? And more importantly, what could you achieve if you refocused all that energy on what truly, truly matters?